Hello again. Okay, so this is Recollection number 12 of Campaign 5, and we are playing D&D 5th edition, owned by the company Wizards of the Coast, and we're playing in Wildemount, the book that we're using, Explorer's Guide to Wildemount, is created by the company and show Critical Role. All right. So, Recollection number 12. So, here we go. So, again, this one's still written a bit like a story, so I'll just read it as normal, and then I'll get into the more free flow ones, I guess, in the next video. But, anyways, so here we go. The party decides to head into the sewers. Oh, nope. That's not it. All right. Here we go. I guess, spoiler alert. Anyways, so here we are. So starting off in the shaded bow, the hidden tavern beneath the main tavern, Vorkeef and Elio engage the devils, Juniper, Camille, and Harlow. They are Harlow's an incubus, and Juniper and Camille are succubuses. Anyways, Elio, their sixth party player, or their sixth party member that has joined the campaign, he's actually a swashbuckler rogue, which actually makes him great as a frontline fighter. So Vorkeef provides buffs and tanks with a lot of close range spells, and Vorkeef tanking like that grants Elio advantage through flanking. I believe that's a house rule that I used. Anyways, I'm sure it's used a lot actually, but I just say it is. It is a house rule. Anyways, allowing Elio to use sneak attack. So this makes a pretty effective combo in close quarters combat. Now, on the other hand, the encounter at the Linhart's residence between Wick, Xander, and the Linhart's private security, the mercenaries, that is a different encounter, in that Wick is primarily a range spellcaster. So dealing with close-range bruisers proves more difficult since Xander the Rogue has to be his protector. He has to protect the warlock. So with that, Xander takes a beating being thrown around the dining room, while Wick casts as many cantrips and spells as he can muster. Eventually, the fight forces them to escape from the room and down to the first floor, where they have more room. Now, Nox's kid is outside, standing near an alley, and he's spotted by the Linhart security that are outside of the residence, outside the front door. Anyways, he runs into the alley, shouting for guards to come, which is a smart move. Anyways, Vexen is not so lucky, since he is in combat on a roof against the incubus, one of the incubuses. This incubus, however, is fighting him unarmed, and Vexen uses I think it's a spell, Zephyr Strike, to grant himself extra speed to try and escape the abandoned building that he decided to ascend. And while he's trying to escape, he's trying to fend off the devil's attacks. They eventually fall through the roof and then burst through a window from one of the higher floors in their hectic fight. Now, Elio and Vorkeef begin to overwhelm Juniper, Harlow, and Camille, and eventually Camille is subdued, one of the succubuses. So she's subdued and knocked unconscious, and then Juniper and Harlow make their escape. Vorkeef elects to keep her alive for the time being. And then he uses his bounty hunter manacles to capture Camille. It's something that is part of his backstory, so he's like, yeah. He just slaps the manacles on her. I think they're actually enchanted, from what I recall. But with that, eventually Wick and Xander are able to fight to the hall, where they have more range, and then Nox's kid is able to summon guards to his aid, which in turn chase after the Linhart security that was in pursuit of him. And once they decide to basically get out of there once the Crown's Guard becomes involved. Other than that, Vexen is grappled, and he is fighting the incubus in midair above the street because they bursted through the window. The incubus sort of grappled him and just charged through the window with him. So they're up in midair above the street, but Vexen's trying to break free of him. So Nox's kid, thinking light on his feet, he he runs back down the alleyway to help, and he takes a shot at the incubus, but he misses and hits Vexen instead. Now, I have later learned that technically that's not how the rules go. It's supposed to be something like the guy has half cover, and so it makes it harder for it to hit him. So anyways, I've been running the whole game, the whole campaign for years now with that house rule. So, well, can't be an encyclopedia. But eventually, Vexen is able to break the grapple and falls to the street below, surviving the fall. Now, the incubus flies off and escapes because he has wings. Now, eventually, Wick and Xander defeat the remaining Linhart security that did not escape the house. And from there, Elio and Vorkeef hand Camille over to Captain Tabo and the Crown's Guard. Captain Tabo is the captain of the Crown's Guard there in the city. One of the many captains, I guess. But anyways, Nox's kid apologizes to Vexen, of course, and then links back up with Wick and Xander. Can't have any sort of dissension amongst Team Ranger. But with that, they link back up at the Linhart residence while they wait for Vorkeef and Elio. Now, the party decides to recover with a long rest before questioning Camille. And upon arriving at the jail within the Jeweled Gates district, they bring to Captain Tabo their findings of the succubus group connected to the Truscan family. I guess they're more like the devil group, Succubus, there's incubuses in there too. Anyways, so to question Camille, it would be Vorkeef who does it with Captain Tabo present. So while that is going on, the party goes to collect supplies. Now, Vorkeef discovers that there is a group of devils that are working with a hag. Now, Camille's description of the hag reminds him of the one he encountered in Tuasoa back in the Marquis manor. But with that, Captain Tabo's explanation of what Camille describes of, basically, Camille says that they're hiding out in like a ruin hidden within the Siren Green Forest, and Captain Tabo elaborates on it for Vorkeef. So with that, Vorkeef, with Captain Tabo's permission, he actually executes Camille, believing she would be too dangerous to be left alive, and it was probably the right choice. But with that, Captain Tabo sends Vorkeef with some supplies to continue the investigation of the group of devils out into the ruins of the Siren Green Forest. So with that, the party decides to go into the Linhart residence to do some more investigating, just to see where the heck the Linharts went. And what ends up happening is they discover a secret passage in the pantry that leads to the safe room with some provisions. And Xander disarms a trap connected to a hatch that has a barrel of gunpowder leading down to the safe room. So with that, the party decides to keep the barrel of gunpowder. Pretty nice little thing to have. And then the party solves a puzzle that acts as a lock for a false wall in the safe room beneath the pantry. Then, the false wall reveals a passage to the sewer system of Deastock. And as the spoiler goes, the party decides to head into the sewers. So, with that, that's pretty much it for this recollection. And we'll keep them going until we're done with the campaign and then on to the next campaign. All right. Until next time.